Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. I'm just so thankful to get to share with you today and to hear how you're doing. So just please comment and let me know what your takeaways are from what I'm about to talk about today. So what I want to talk about today on today's live video is sensory overload. And I'm not talking about kids with sensory overload. I'm talking about moms with sensory overload. If you've been there, you know. And most of you have. So let me tell you a story. I talk about, my wins and my failures. This is definitely, it's both. It's a failure and a win. So I get to sensory overload frequently because my house is loud. I have 5 tiny people running around. And, especially when they're fighting, or they're all talking to me at the same time, or they're on multiple devices and those devices are turned up to full volume, or they turn the TV up loud after I've already set the volume, or, they're like banging on the walls or something weird, because, that happens. Noise is definitely a trigger for me. And they're like, and people are like, why'd you have 5 kids? And I'm like, well, I guess I didn't know what I was getting into, but it still triggers me. And that's just part of my life. And so, and also another thing that triggers me a lot is constantly being touched. I'm just being honest here, people. When my kids are constantly like hanging on me and touching me and climbing on me, it makes me feel like my skin is crawling. Like, I tell my kids all the time when they're like, Mommy, what's wrong? When they see me getting into that sensory overload, I feel like my skin is crawling. Excuse me. I tell them I wish that I could be a cactus so that I could just stick things out of me, those spines out of me, and that way they could just kind of back off. I know that's mean. That's really mean. But there's too much noise. There's too many toys laying on the floor that I have to walk around. I'm touched out. I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, that's my real life, guys. That's what it's like to have 5 kids, in case you didn't know. Or sometimes some of you have 3 kids and you're like, I get it. Some of you have 1 kid and you may or may not. I only had 1 kid for like 14 months of my life, and she was a baby, and she was an easy baby, so I can't relate to only having 1 kid. But some of you, that may be you. You may have 1 kid that is all of those things too. Who knows? Let me know if that's you. So, all those things, and then especially when I'm just trying to do one thing, and I'm like, I'm only trying to do one thing. Please just leave me alone so I can do this one thing, and then I will help you. And they're all like this at me, and I'm like, stop, please. I'm not like that. I'm not like, stop, please. I'm like more like about to have a conniption because they won't leave me alone. And I'm working on that, y'all. I'm working on that. But that's where I am now. We talked about strengths and weaknesses this week. Now we're talking about sensory overload. And I don't really see that as a strength or a weakness. I just see that as how I am. But how I react or how I respond, am I going to react or am I going to respond to my kids who have no idea that mommy just needs a moment, that mommy's in sensory overload? How do I get them to see that so that they don't get their feelings crushed? So that they don't feel like they can come to me, so that they're not like, why is mommy so mean? What's wrong with mommy? Because that has happened. I haven't always handled it the right way. But I'm learning ways to handle it so that when that happens, I'm not being a mean monster to my kids, and I can also bring it together quickly so that I can get back to my normal self. And the key to that is communication. I have got to be clear in my communication. Brene Brown, who's one of my heroes, says clear is kind. I've always stuck with that because I've got to communicate clearly to my kids, and I've got to tell them in a calm way, making sure they're listening to me. We all know what that's like. So making sure my kids are listening and be like, guys, listen, I got to tell you something important. Just everybody listen. Mommy needs a moment. I'm sorry. I apologize to my kids, okay? I didn't, some people don't, and some people didn't grow up with parents who apologize to you, but I do. And I'm honest with them about what I'm doing, about what I'm feeling. And that works for us. That's very productive. And I just tell them, I'm sorry mommy has been so grouchy and mommy has asked you to leave me alone. It's not that I don't want you to be with me. It's not that I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to listen to your stories. It's not that I don't want to help you with all the things you need help with right now. But mommy just needs some time to calm down. Have you ever felt that way before? And of course they can relate to that. They're kids. They're human. Who can't relate to that? And I'm like, guys, how about You guys can go play outside on the trampoline for a few minutes and I'll watch you from the window, or you can go in your room. I give them choices so it's not like, you know, a little less overwhelming for them and they feel a little in charge. Or, you know, let's just try to do something for a few moments that you don't need mommy. You feel happy, you don't need mommy. You can, that way I can have some space to where I can pull it together and calm down and get back to normal and feel good and just engage with you again. I have never had a time that didn't work with my kids. My kids, they just need me, but they want to help me. If I tell them that's going to help me and that it's just going to be a short time, I tell them, don't come ask me, is it okay now? I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I've calmed down enough that we can all come back together again. And then I can tell you, you know, I need you to turn the volume down. I need you to do that for yourself. You know, open your own drink because I know you're able to and you're just bothering me right now. And so I can do all that calmly and I'm not being triggered. I'm not in sensory overload anymore. I'm back to healthy, normal, happy mommy that they need. But the thing is, we all get into this thing called sensory overload. We all have triggers. We all need a moment sometimes, right? Mommy needs a moment sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you don't take that moment, you're not going to get off that roller coaster. Things are going to get worse, and your kids are going to be, or your family, or whoever you're with, is going to be like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? And they're not going to help you until you explain to them what's going on and how they can help you. And then every single time it's worked for me. So there's your life hack for today. There's your mom hack. So, and you know, and there's other times that I struggle with my kids, you know, about, you know, them aggravating me, them getting on my nerves, them, you know, even when they do things that are mistakes that they shouldn't do. And I can be triggered by that too. And this is something I'm still working on. This is not something that I have down pat. Oh, thank you. Here, you can have it back. This is not something that I feel like, oh yeah, I'm never going to arrive, but it's not something that I feel like, you know, I'm growing in, but I'm not like super strong in. It's just letting them be aggravating, letting them make mistakes, even if it's something that they know better, because we all make mistakes. There's things that I know better about that I still do anyway, because I'm a human and so are they. They are tiny humans. And instead of jumping into their chaos with them, I try to just be me. Let them be them and let me be me. And this is why that works. I know it works. I don't always do it, but I know it works. So let's support each other and get each other doing this, because it works. So if you've got really aggravating tantrum-like energy in a room from one person, and you've got over here, you've got like calm, healthy, happy, productive energy, those two energies cannot exist in the same room. Eventually one's going to overpower the other, and the one that's being overpowered is going to fizzle out. That's a law of the universe, and I teach it in my course. Shameless plug. So what is it going to be? Is your child's energy going to overpower you and you're going to jump into that swirling pool with them and become in their chaos with them? Or are you just going to do you and maintain your energy and not respond to them instead of reacting to them? And then their little thing that they're going through is just going to fizzle out because you're not feeding into it. Like I said, I'm not a parenting expert. I fail way more times than I want to admit. And if you came over to my house, you'd probably be like, oh my gosh. But I'm learning. And like I said, we're here to support each other's strengths and weaknesses, failures and successes. And we're here to show up and be the real authentic versions of ourselves. And we're here to just, you know, good and bad, just be ourselves. And I want to, by doing this, I'm giving you permission to do the same. So there's your second hack for today. Life, you know, I'm full of hacks, mom hacks, life hacks. So tune in every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for lots of hacks and lots of cool stories. So just a reminder, this is my last live video this week. Beta testing ends Sunday, so message me. I've had several people sign up this week. I only have a few more spots for beta testers. Seriously, if you want to get in on the half off for the Mindset Mastery for Moms, now is the time. Message me let's set you up. Let's get you the details so that you can see if this is right for you. Let's get you going on this, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be an amazing coaching program. I mean, it is. So I will see you next Monday at 11, and also my conference starts a week from today. It starts July 9th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's a free conference right here on Facebook. Mom So Hard Virtual Conference. You can see it on my page.